The bank smelled faintly of lemon polish and anxiety. It was late afternoon, the kind of dull gray day where even sunlight seemed tired. Customers stood in slow-moving lines, eyes glued to their phones, feet shuffling in impatient rhythm. Near the front, a man in his late 50s, tall, broad-shouldered despite a limp, gripped a crumpled envelope in his hand. His name was Calvin Briggs, a Marine veteran who'd served 2 tours overseas. His hands were calloused, his knuckles scarred. But right now, they trembled slightly. Inside the envelope was his last paycheck from a construction company that had downsized. He had bills overdue, a fridge nearly empty, and 1 week left until his daughter's school fees were due. This check meant survival. The teller, Amanda Cruz, didn't look up as he stepped to her counter. Her fingers danced over the keyboard, nails clicking. She was young, sharp-dressed, and had the cold efficiency of someone who thought empathy was bad for productivity. ID, she said flatly. Calvin slid his military ID across. I'd like to cash this, he said, voice steady. Amanda looked at the check, frowned, and shook her head. This is damaged, torn on the corner. We can't process it like this. It's just a corner, Calvin replied. Numbers, signatures, everything's there. It's legal. I understand, sir, she said in a tone that suggested she didn't understand at all. But bank policy, he leaned forward, keeping his voice calm. Ma'am, I've been banking here for 15 years. Can't you, she interrupted, glancing over her shoulder at a supervisor. Then, without warning, she slid the check into a small shredder behind her desk. The motor word, chewing paper into ribbons. Calvin stared at her hand. What did you just do? Amanda didn't meet his eyes. It's void now. You'll need to contact the issuer. Calvin's jaw clenched. The shredded paper in her trash bin might as well have been pieces of his life. The people in line had seen it, the deliberate, almost petty destruction. Whispers spread like wildfire. An old man muttered, "That ain't right." A young woman in a hoodie raised her phone, recording. Calvin took a slow step back, not because he was retreating, but because something deep inside him had shifted. The calm discipline drilled into him in Marines was still there, but over it now lay the raw, pulsing edge of survival. His voice carried through the marble lobby. You just destroyed my paycheck. That was my rent, my food, my kids' school fees. Amanda pressed her lips together. Sir, you're making a scene. The word scene was gasoline. He slammed his palm on the counter. The sound echoed. You bet I am. Security, a stocky man named Harlan, moved toward him. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step outside. Calvin turned, looked him in the eye, and spoke low. You really want to put hands on me right now? Harlan hesitated. He could see the stance, the way Calvin's weight shifted. This wasn't some hothead. This was someone trained. Amanda reached for her phone, probably to call police. That was the moment Calvin's mind made a snap decision. They needed to see the cost of disrespect. It started with the front doors. Calvin moved toward them, fast. He grabbed one and slammed the steel security bar across. The thunk was loud enough to draw every eye. The second door got the same treatment. What are you doing? Amanda shouted. Calvin didn't answer. He walked back to the center of the bank, unzipped his weathered duffel bag, and pulled out nothing dangerous, just a folded American flag, the one that had draped his father's casket. He placed it on the floor in front of the teller's row. Then he spoke, not shouting now, but loud enough to command the room. You want to throw away a veteran's lifeline? Fine, but you're going to explain it to every single person in here and to every camera watching. Phones were out. People were recording. The hum of the security cameras felt like they were leaning in, too. Amanda's supervisor, Mr. Kellerman, hurried over. Sir, you need to calm down. Calvin's eyes snapped to him. You calm down when you can't feed your family. You calm down when the people who take your deposits treat you like trash. I earned that check. I earned it the hard way. Kellerman tried the corporate voice. We can issue a formal apology. I don't want your apology. Calvin cut him off. I want the truth on record. You destroyed a legal check from a customer in good standing. Something shifted in the room. A woman in the back called out, My account's been frozen for weeks for no reason. A man in a suit said, "They charged me $75 for a 5-minute overdraft." Voices rose, overlapping, frustration years in the making, finding a crack to burst through. Calvin hadn't planned it, but he had just lit the fuse on a room full of grievances. Harlan, the guard, stepped in again, trying to restore order. "Folks, please, no," Calvin said firmly. "They need to hear it. We all need to hear it." Amanda's phone was still in her hand, but now her expression was less smug and more nervous. Corporate policy didn't prepare her for a lobby full of angry customers and the cameras in their hands. The turning point came when an elderly woman shuffled forward, tears in her eyes. She held up a crumpled notice. "They foreclosed on my house because they lost my payment," she said softly. "I've lived there for 40 years. Silence fell. Even Amanda looked away. Calvin bent down, picked up the flag, and draped it over the woman's shoulders. "This country's supposed to take care of its people," he said. "Banks are supposed to serve, not strip people bare." Kellerman muttered into his headset. Outside, sirens wailed faintly in the distance. The police were coming. Calvin knew he couldn't stay. He also knew that leaving quietly would undo everything. He faced the crowd. "Record this. Post it. Show them what happens when they treat people like we don't matter." Then, before security could grab him, he moved fast, not toward the door, but toward the row of teller windows. He picked up the shredded remains of his check from Amanda's bin, held them up for the cameras, and let the strips fall slowly to the floor. "They didn't just shred paper," he said. "They shredded trust." Only then did he unlock the doors and walk out, head high, sirens growing louder. Epilogue. Aftermath. By evening, the video had gone viral. Hashtag Shredded Trust trended nationwide. Amanda was placed on leave. Kellerman's statements to the press sounded hollow. The bank issued a public apology and offered Calvin a settlement. He refused. Instead, he used the spotlight to start a small nonprofit that helped veterans fight unfair banking practices. Donations poured in. The bank's marble floors had been polished again, the shredded paper vacuumed away. But the memory of that day, the moment a quiet veteran turned a lobby into a reckoning, lingered like the echo of a slammed door. Because sometimes chaos isn't destruction. Sometimes it's the only way to be heard.